Hello, hello. I had a long conversation with my mother last night. As always, we talk at least 2 hours, if not 3 hours. And my poor mother, who is 82, has to listen to long rants about making the world a better place when she is tired and exhausted. Things are slowing down. She's becoming forgetful and she just wants to look out the window and look at the trees and enjoy the rest of her life in peace instead of having to listen to a daughter who is ranting and ranting and ranting about making the world a better place and that each of us has a responsibility in doing so. But I'm not expecting everyone to ad hoc become a feminist, go to the street with a banner holding up, demonstrating against inequality or whatever, or demonstrating against fur coats or demonstrating against animal testing for cosmetics or whatever. So I am not putting the gun on anyone's head saying, you better, you better go out to the street and do this, or, or I will come after you, or I will haunt you with words and I will ostracize you or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. So, and I told her that too. I said that basically I'm just making an argument. I'm sharing with you what's on my mind. I am, and so the conversations always get a little longer, and that is not completely my own fault because, and maybe anyone who has something to say about this, please give me your input. Please let me know. My husband gave me his 3 cents today on this, and so I'll get into this later. But anyway, what I'm trying to bring across, my point, when I talk to Pope Francis, my mother, or King of Timbuktu. It doesn't matter who there could be on planet Earth, right? It doesn't matter how old that person is or how young. I bring my point across, is in as good a way as I can possibly do it according to the knowledge background of the person I'm talking to, and so on, using examples that are hopefully easy to understand and to highlight the situation and the argument or the scenario that I try to bring across, the situation, the causalities of things. We have to use examples to make things more understandable. But the reason why the conversations usually become 3 times as long is because my mother will say something that comes from her ego, her defense mechanism, her, as I call it, her brutal mask that she has put on herself to protect her inner child. And the ego will always defend the old ways. The ego will always have an excuse to say, we've always done it this way, why should we change it now? We've always done it that way, people are never going to change it, why should I change it? It will always be like this. Why should I make any effort in this direction? Why should I even bother to think about it if people will always do it? It will always continue and blah, 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 blah. So I said to her, with that mindset, it will always continue in the old ways. This is a logical fact, right? But if we make an effort, and it could be just an inch of an effort, okay, to move towards making the world a better place, it could just be, and that's basically that's all I'm asking from people. It could just be a slight shift of mindset. That's all I'm asking. An inch moving of mindset. That's all I'm asking. I know it is scary for the ego, but that's what I'm asking from people to do. That is each person's responsibility. If each person moves their ego just an inch out of the way and lets the inner child see the truth for what it is, see the sun on the tree in its true colors, in its true vibrant green, sparkling colors, then you will also see the shadow. You will also be confronted with the contrast. And that is what you want to run away from when you have a TV on in every room of your house. When you have the radio blasting, and most people have talk radio that is extremely right-wing, to blast out the truth, so that you don't have to see the contrast. You will contrast yourself so full in your head that you don't have to see any contrast anymore. That's why people watch horror movies. They will load themselves with contrast so they don't have to see the contrast anymore. Particularly not the contrast in themselves. Like, the slightest hint at someone maybe having a faulty character is too much for the ego to carry, okay? The ego will snap at the drop of the head. If someone just unknowingly points out to a person, completely unintentionally points out to a person, just through their own lifestyle points out to the other person, that the other person maybe, just maybe, do something wrong, maybe the other person is conducting himself somewhat in the wrong direction, maybe hurting someone else, maybe this is not good, maybe this is not beneficial. That is too much for the ego to take. And the ego will go berserk and have to dig up stuff and arguments and defend himself and go from one thing into the thousands, and dig up more and more and more and more to back up its lies. So a lie always requires thousands of times more work than the truth, because the truth stands for itself. It is what it is. It is the truth. You don't need to get an iceberg of foundations of foundations of foundations of lies to back up the lies, the denial, and the ego defenses, and the illusions and delusions. So the truth is the truth. It's very easy going, low maintenance. The truth just stands for itself. And all I'm asking from people is just shift your mindset an inch. That's all I'm asking. Just an inch. Just look at it. Just peek through the curtain of brutal armor and face masks. peek through the ego mask and the ego wall and castle, and peek through this, to these mountains and mountains of self-defense and barricades. Peek through it and see the true colors of life itself, and just see it, just observe it, observe what is. Just open it an inch in your brain and see what it is. This is what it is. These are the true vibrant colors. The tree is alive. Okay. Now that brings in the contrast. That brings in the logging industry. Just one example of many, many, many more horrid examples that I could use, but I don't want to right now, because then I cry. I cry about the forests too. The beauty of the tree, the aliveness of the tree giving us oxygen, that immediately opens up to the contrast, which is the logging industry. Clear cutting that life, that all life depends on. So no one wants to let that sink in. The ego comes in and comes to old ways, this cool old, we've always done it that way. Well, hundreds of years ago there was a lot more forest. You know, these things are not endless. I mean, it's just logic. If we use logic, rationality, we can move to Mars, but it takes 100 years to terraform Mars and to grow trees. And there will be very small trees, like the little Christmas trees you buy in a pot. That's how big the trees will be in 100 years on Mars, if they do it all in the right sequence. Yeah, that doesn't replace thousands and thousands of year-old ancient forests that are older than Jesus Christ and the Buddha. So, you do the math, look at it, let it in, look at it from that angle. Don't dismiss it right away as this is the hippie look. She's got hippie glasses on. She sees it through the hippie lens. No, it's the truth lens. Matter of fact, it's no lens at all. It's just looking in it with my bare eyes, without sunglasses on, without reading glasses or other glasses, without computer animation formations in front of me. I'm looking at it the way it is, and I'm asking from other people to do the same thing. Just allow it. Don't judge it. Don't put a name to it. Don't come up with an excuse. Look at it. Okay. This affects all of you. My mother, the king of Timbuktu, Pope Francis. Pope Francis is actually quite caring person. I'm very happy about this. So, and the Dalai Lama is quite caring to a degree, but then the ego comes in, fear of social rejection, and then that blends out true love. It's a shame. It's a pity. It's such a pity. You think that the Pope Francis or the Dalai Lama have like the last word of wisdom for you, Think again. Yeah. Or Rush Limbaugh, or whatever your heroes are. Think again. They don't know anything. They know very little. very, very little, and most of it is shaded by traditions, by old school ways of thinking, of looking at things, of fear of rejection, fear of alienating their clientele. It's basically like a corporation. So think about this, you are responsible, okay? And as Jiddu Krishnamurti said, it is extremely irresponsible to give someone else authority and responsibility over you or over others. Every one of you carries that responsibility to think things through, to move things towards a better world, to make things better for all life, okay? So please think about this. You are in charge. You are responsible, and you have to make this effort in thinking, in planning, in questioning, and in doing to make the world a better place. Don't rely on other people. If you rely on other people, you are irresponsible. So you do it. And Micah Moore said it too. If you want to make the world a better place, you become a politician. So you guys take care. Bye-bye.